Hey guys, what's up? It's Basketball Horror Reviews. We've had a couple upgrades since the last upload. I bought some lights, I bought a new tripod, I got a table. I've always had this table, um, but I figured maybe I'll start using it for the like collection update videos or, you know, reviews. Maybe just have some place to rest my hands or do something with. But either way, this is a Blu-ray DVD uh, vinyl kind of collection update type video. Um, this table is not really entirely on balance, but either way, we'll get into it like right now. I'll start with just like something that I'll get out of the way pretty quickly. I bought some prints from an artist, which I'll probably actually see if I can lean this bad boy on the table. I don't know if I can. But got a couple of prints. Yeah, I can't lean that on the table. But a couple of very, very high quality prints of NES Jason and Super Freddy. These are limited, signed, numbered to 100. So yeah, these are really nice, very small prints. I bought them for like, I think it was like $20 a piece, and it said they were 5x7, and I was like, and I thought to myself, okay, 5x7, that's like the same as one of these kinds of frames, right? Um, and I realized that no, 5x7 is half, pretty much half of what one of these frames is, which this is an 8x10 frame. But not exactly half, but still, I had a free 8x10 frame laying around, so I did not have to buy any frames. I put them in the same frame, and that will be going on the wall. As for the Blu-rays and DVDs, we will start from the bottom. Starting with Magic, starring Anthony Hopkins. This is a really interesting one. This one's directed by Richard Attenborough. And Richard Attenborough was the old dude in Jurassic Park who created Jurassic Park, and he had a directing career. And I haven't seen too many of his movies, but I have seen Magic, and Magic is a really good psychological horror film from the '70s, starring Anthony Hopkins giving an amazing performance, where he plays a ventriloquist who has, a split personality, and he talks to his dummy back and forth as if his dummy is alive, and he's dealing with this spiteful relationship he has with his dummy, all while trying to reconnect with his high school sweetheart who he hasn't seen in a very long time. It's really creepy, very well done. It's got a great atmosphere. I haven't seen it in a bit. I will probably have to rewatch this one. I found this for super cheap though. This is the old like Dark Sky DVD. I don't know if this film has a Blu-ray release, but if it doesn't, then it definitely needs one, because this is a really, really great film. Anthony Hopkins even learned how to properly do ventriloquism in order to do the role. So when he is doing these scenes on stage with the dummy, he is legit doing the fucking ventriloquism, which is absolutely amazing. It really shows how dedicated Anthony Hopkins is to his craft. I got a Scream Factory release. This one is going out of print here soon. And it was on sale for a decent enough price. It's Escape from New York, the famous John Carpenter film with the stars Kurt Russell. What can I say about Escape from New York? This movie is like super iconic and well known, and everybody kind of loves it. I hate it when I decide to film and like people are like, "Oh yeah, let's come home at this time," particularly. Fuck it. Super iconic John Carpenter film. Basically, the setup for the movie is that the entire state of New York is now its own high maximum security prison, and the president gets trapped in this high security prison, and they have to send in Kurt Russell as the character Snake Plissken. Send him in to save the president, and they're like, "You're the only one who can do this, Snake." He's kind of a Mary Sue character, but it's still really great. The soundtrack to the film, I'm pretty sure, is also done by Carpenter himself. I do not remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Carpenter usually did the music for his movies. I'm pretty sure he did the music. I know the director of photography for the film is Dean Cundey, who worked with Carpenter quite a bit, and Dean Cundey is absolutely amazing. He worked on quite a few interesting movies. Speaking of Carpenter, we have a movie that I've just upgraded to because I've only had the DVD for the longest time. I'm talking about They Live. What can I say about They Live? I feel like I could say even less about They Live, because They Live, I feel like, is almost as iconic, if not even more iconic, than Escape from New York. I prefer They Live over Escape from New York, personally. I think They Live is just kind of better all around and a lot more interesting. But they're both very great movies. They Live is an interesting kind of social satire, dark comedy, sort of, action, science fiction, horror film, basically about a ruling class of aliens disguised as yuppies in 1980s America, and they are essentially breeding the working class in order to use them as a form of cattle, which very much mirrors real life currently. Really great stuff. Love this one. Roddy Piper, rest in peace, is in it, and he is amazing in it. Happy I finally upgraded to the Blu-ray, and yeah. This one also has a really great soundtrack. Most Carpenter films have a great soundtrack. We also got Shin Godzilla, the 2016 Toho return to the Godzilla franchise, which is a very, very big film. One of the best Godzilla movies, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, this is like the third best Godzilla film. There's like the original, then there's like Godzilla vs. Hedorah, then there's Shin Godzilla, and then there's Godzilla Final Wars. That's my ranking. Don't at me. Shin Godzilla is really great. It's really great, kind of, again, it's another film that's kind of a social satire, but if you don't live in Japan, you wouldn't get much of the satirical elements. But I don't think that takes away from the film at all. I still think it's really great, and it's very much classic Godzilla, and that's something I can just really respect about it. The visual effects are pretty good for the most part. There's some times where it's a bit shaky, but the redesign for Godzilla is really great, and this one is directed by, I can't remember what the guy's fucking name is, but, oh god. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head who directed it, but I know that the guy who directed this is the same fucking madman responsible for Evangelion and End of Evangelion, which, that tracks if you watch this. We got another release. This is a recent one. This is Shivers, the the David Cronenberg film Shivers, finally on Blu-ray in the US, which is really, really great that this film is on Blu-ray, because this is a really good early Cronenberg film. I'm pretty sure this is actually one of his first feature films. And I personally really like it. It's not super heavy on like the gore or the body horror, But I haven't seen it in a few years, but I remembered really liking it and thinking that this is definitely one of his more interesting early works. Like when it comes to his early stuff, his 70s films, like, you know, there's some really good stuff in there. Like The Brood, for example, is one that I think is pretty good. And I also think that like Rabid is also, you know, kind of good. This one also, and maybe around the same range, but I'd probably have to say the best of his like 70s work is probably uh The Brood. Like that one, it just really knocks it out of the park. That one's all kinds of weird and messed up and, you know, just crazy. um and that one really introduced a lot of body horror elements as well. But still, Shivers is a pretty interesting one, basically about a weird kind of parasitic organism getting into the water supply of this city, and these people in this apartment building start becoming infected one by one with this parasite that is transmitted through sexual contact, and it basically turns them into sex-crazed kind of zombies, which is a pretty interesting little premise. Pretty interesting little movie, nothing amazing, but this is a new Vestron release, which it's cool to see that Vestron is still doing these like Vestron Collector's Edition releases, you know. Uh, but like I remember when they first started doing these, and they started with like Blood Diner, and Blood Diner was immediately like $30 right out the gate. And I remember saying like, look, I love Blood Diner, don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna pay $30 fucking for it. That's not worth it. Now $30 for like the Wishmaster collection or the Warlock box set that they put out, those I could justify because those are multiple movies. I justified the like $30 that they were asking for both of the Waxworks movies on Blu-ray, but like, you know, I can't justify that for just one movie, especially a movie that's like, you know, just trash. It's trash that I adore, but it is trash nonetheless. So I still haven't picked that one up, even though that came out years ago. But I think it's crazy because I think they've realized that like those prices are maybe a little bit high because I pre-ordered this because it was cheap. This was like $15. I was like $15 for a Vestron video release. That's the first time one of these has ever been this cheap. And I'll have to double check the prices on some of the other ones, like Lair of the White Worm and Parents. And I know they're doing one of Little Monsters, which I might have to pick up. But still, you know, like those prices used to be high as hell. I wonder if they've all gone down, or if it's just because like they thought, nah, nobody's gonna want to buy Shivers from Cronenberg. We got a movie that I blind bought, and this one was a little pricey because it's an Arrow release, a new Arrow release. It's The Comic. This is a recent Arrow video release. I reviewed this on my Letterboxd account, so if you want to get more information on like my thoughts on it, you can find it on my Letterboxd account. However, I do want to say, like, the reason I blind bought this was because Arrow Video themselves described it as shot on 35mm in another dimension. And I love movies that feel like they are from another time and place entirely. I love shit like that when it comes to, like, exploitation and horror films and just B movies. So when I hear about one that's like, you know, described as it feels like it's from another dimension, I am immediately interested, especially when a company that is releasing it describes it as that, and that is definitely what The Comic is. I found some of my favorite, you know, movies, some of my favorite random obscure movies because companies release these things and took the time to care and restore and release them, and I stumble upon them and I'm like, this is absolutely amazing stuff. Stuff like Cinderella 2000 and Things and Malatesta's Carnival of Blood and The Child and Sledgehammer, movies like that. And I was hoping to find another film like that, which This isn't entirely that. The comic is not entirely that, but it's still interesting. I also, more Carpenter upgrades. I upgraded my copy of Halloween to Blu-ray finally. I've only had the DVD of Halloween and a very old, like 1999 DVD copy of Halloween for the absolute longest time. It is one of the, like, oldest movies in my collection in terms of how long I've had it, because it's one of, like, the first horror films I ever owned. But, you know, I was like, hey, the Blu-ray is cheap. Let's just buy the Blu-ray. This is the Blu-ray from, like, 2014, 2013, I think. So this isn't like a recent edition, but it's good enough for me. It's, you know, Blu-ray, got some special features, it's got a new audio commentary on here. I say new, but the audio commentary is almost a decade old at this point. But still, you know, that's honestly still cool. I like Halloween. It is a classic. And I'm happy I upgraded. Speaking of Halloween upgrades, we got Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, aka the best Halloween movie. Don't at me. Halloween 3 is the absolute best Halloween film in the series. I stand by those words, and I will always stand by those words, goddammit. This one is immensely unique. It is interesting. It is creepy. It has a very nice, droning, beautiful synth soundtrack that I'm more than certain Carpenter did. I'm pretty sure Carpenter did the music. Either way, this one I'm pretty sure was also shot by Dean Cundy. Yes. Yep, shot by Dean Cundy as well, and it's also very beautifully shot. Honestly, this one's really great. It's about corporate corruption and corporate greed and 80s consumerism, and I can completely get into horror films about that. And this is another one that I've been meaning to upgrade for forever, because all I've ever had of this one is an old double feature DVD of the second and third Halloween, and I upgraded to the Blu-ray of the Scream Factory Blu-ray of the second Halloween years ago when I found it used for like $10. This was $14. I figured I'd grab it. It's, you know, a movie I really love, and I just kind of thought I have to get this, because if Escape from New York is going to go out of print, this is going to go out of print soon, I think, and I don't want to miss out. The last thing, which is another Scream Factory release, is the Vincent Price collection. This is like the most recent thing. Pre-ordered this as soon as they announced that they were putting this one back into print, and I'm happy that I did. I remember when this collection came out in like 2012, 2013, something like that. And at the time, I wasn't too big into Vincent Price. It wasn't until I saw like House on Haunted Hill a little bit after I graduated high school, and a few years ago I saw The Abominable Dr. Phibes and The Last Man on Earth, which are like two of my favorite two of my favorite Price movies. So I figured that I would have to get some of these Vincent Price collection Blu-rays eventually, but they've been out of print for a while, and if the second one goes into print again, I'll have to buy it, because it has the sequel to Phibes on it, as well as a nice HD restoration of The Last Man on Earth and House on Haunted Hill, and both of those are really good, but they're both in the public domain, so all the copies that exist look pretty bad. But this set is very nice. I did not know the extent to the good shit that is on this set until they were like, oh, this is going back into print, and I looked at the movies that were on it. I was like, I have seen most of these, and most of these are fucking great. The set consists of The Pit and the Pendulum, The Fall of the House of Usher, Mask of the Red Death, The Abominable Dr. Phibes, The Haunted Palace, and Witchfinder General, which I didn't even know Witchfinder General was available on Blu-ray in the US, but it is, wildly enough. And I love Pit and the Pendulum, love The Fall of the House of Usher. I watched Mask of the Red Death last night, and absolutely loved it. The Bomb Deductor 5s, I said I love that one. I haven't watched The Haunted Palace yet. I will get around to it. And Witchfinder General is like the big one, because as I was looking through the titles that were on here, I was like, ooh, I like that, I like that, I like that. What? Witchfinder General? I have to get this. So, I set aside some, so I set aside some cash, and I was like, I'm gonna, save like $50 out of a paycheck. Like literally a month ago when I pre-ordered it, I set aside $50, put it aside, and I was like, I will buy that as soon as it comes out. And then I bought it when it came out. Not that I can't not afford to set aside $50 at a random point in time, but I kind of wanted to make sure I had it in case I ended up in the hospital or something fucking stupid happened and I didn't have any money. But yeah, on top of that, we got a package today of some Cheddar Goblin mac and cheese from the officially licensed Mandy Cheddar Goblin mac and cheese, which I will be doing a Binging with Babish style video making and sampling this mac and cheese. And it'll probably be a shit show, but it'll be fun. As soon as I find some time when I can get the kitchen to myself, that will be shot and I will put it together. It probably won't be too well made, but it might be an interesting watch. But yeah, I bought one box because I wanted to try it, and the other box is going to go on the shelf and never be opened, ever. And the absolute last thing that I bought is an album. It is System of a Down's Hypnotize, which is my favorite System of a Down album. Do I even really need to say anything about fucking Hypnotize? This album is one of the last albums that System of a Down put out, and its sister album is Mesmerize, which I also have on vinyl. And Mesmerize is really good. Honestly, there's not a single bad System of a Down album. There's not a single bad System of a Down song, in my opinion. They were extremely consistent, and out of all of the early 2000s, late 90s metal bands, they're one of the ones who have aged very, very well. That being said, Hypnotize is my favorite album of theirs, and when I saw this at the store for like $20, I knew I had to grab it, because I had been, looking around for a copy of this for quite a while, and yeah, this is a classic album, but that is it for now. Anyway, guys, that's it. We got, got some new stuff coming down the pipes, hopefully soon. But, for now, this is Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews, signing off. Peace.